Hello everybody and welcome to the first patch roundup for patch 1.47. As most of you know, we've been getting quite a few updates on the dev blog. Well, not updates, but status reports on things we can expect in 1.47. And yesterday, Gaijin sort of kicked off the hype train with the Mighty Mouse. But there have been a lot of other updates, so in this episode I'm going to try and cover most of them, or all of the ones that have been released so far. Now, the reason I've started in the hangar, and with the Stuka D5, is because that is what the first of the updates is dealing with. At the moment it has two 20mm cannons and a 7.92mm machine gun in the back. If we quickly pop over to the Gaijin website, we can see that two additional variants of pod configuration are going to be added to the aircraft. First one is a set of three paired 7.92mm machine guns, three machine guns for each pod, and there's two of them, so 6 machine guns. And the second is two MG151/20 cannons, again 2 per pod, and there's 2 pods. Here's a picture of it with the machine guns. Looks quite good, pretty good. And that's it with the cannons. Personally, I don't know how useful this is actually going to be. Mainly because if you want to use the Stuka effectively, you've got to sort of be able to have your, be able to outturn the enemy, which the Stuka can do quite effectively. It can surprise your enemy sometimes. I think if you're adding these pods, losing the agility for a bit of extra firepower, and it's already got quite decent firepower, it's a good update, of course, but I'm not sure it's going to be too useful for the Stukas. Now, moving on from the Stuka, we've got an empty cockpit. Nothing particularly unusual about that, except that it's at night. And the next picture, we can now see there is a light on in the cockpit. You can also see the canopies open, which we'll talk about in a minute. This update seems like it'll be good for simulator pilots. Realistic, not so much, because you can still get the third-person view, and it's going to be mainly fighter pilots, because bombers don't even have cockpits. It's a good addition. It only applies to planes that had them, of course, but a good addition, though. Again, I do think it will be limited in its application, or practicality of its applications. And, it's probably not going to be too useful for the majority of players, but like I said, a good addition nonetheless. Now, the next pictures we're looking at are the opening canopies, or operating canopies as Gaijin is calling them. Again, this is like the cockpit lights. This is definitely something for simulator players. It's not going to be too much useful outside of simulator battles, except for, if you're role-playing or for flavour, it's not going to be too practical in realistic or arcade. It's a good addition again, because it should, it could be done in real life, it should be done in the game. But again, it's probably not going to be all that practical for most players, or useful for most players. But like I say, it's a good addition. I'm glad that Gaijin are starting to add these small little details that have been overlooked before, and show a little bit of love towards the simulator community. Now, the next devblog entry is something that I'm especially looking forward to. Binoculars for commanders. At the moment, if you're in simulator battles or realistic or whatever, the only way you can actually zoom into the distance is with your gun barrel. But with the addition of binoculars, you will be able to, zoom in without having to turn your whole turret or your whole tank. This will likely be useful in all game modes, but especially realistic and simulator battles, where obviously you get less markers and, it's more realistic. Especially, and the addition of the new hardcore ultra simulator battles with no markers. It'll be really useful for spotting enemy tanks in the distance. The only thing I do want some clarification on if Gaijin, when Gaijin are releasing this, is whether the commander will be actually sticking out of the hatch, because obviously that may add a tactical dynamic to it. Do I pop out and use my binoculars and risk getting shot, or do I stay buttoned up and have less visibility? But this is definitely a very good addition that I'm especially looking forward to. The next view mode you'll be seeing in a second, not looking forward to so much, is the driver tank view. It'll be useful in some situations maybe, but it just seems like a more limited commander view, or view of what we've already got. Now, I could be proven wrong. Maybe it will prove more useful, and I'm not knocking the idea. It is good that Gaijin is adding in these more viewpoints and more realistic settings. And in simulator mode, maybe it will prove more useful and plus in realistic. But at the moment, I'm not too convinced it's going to be that useful for myself. But again, not disagreeing with it. I'm glad it's been added, but not particularly something I'm looking forward to that much. Now, I've slowed down the next video. If you look carefully, you should be able to see haze, which is what the this dev blog entry deals with. It's good to see more graphical stuff being added in. I just hope it's not going to tank my laptop. I mean, it's already quite low FPS while playing the game. But again, it's good to see Gaijin is adding in more graphical improvements and making the game more realistic. Now, the next entry, which should be popping up any second, is the contrails from aircraft. These have been missing from jet battles and air battles in general. Again, as long as it doesn't tank my settings or other people's settings too much, it would be a very, very good addition, and again, more realism. And it is something I'm looking forward to, especially when I'm getting to higher tier battles myself, like jets, where it will be more noticeable. And you can see in that picture, you can see like 3 or 4 different lots of contrails. It adds to realism, makes the game more pretty. Pretty good thing for Gaijin to add in, and it has been called for quite a while, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the next dev block entry is to do with terrain. You can actually see a small video here, truck going through the mud, and you can see it's a bit different than what it is at the moment. Here's the full description. Tracked vehicles will travel at their maximum speed on roads, but because of low traction will tend to drift on sharp turns, while on standard terrain, situations opposite. Vehicle will have maximum traction but will be unable to develop at high speeds. Climbing up a steep and muddy slope may be more difficult because of lack of grip with the surface, and vehicles can slide down. Now, the implications of this are quite big. At the moment, if you want to get to a target, you just point, straight towards your target and go full speed. If this is to be believed, that may not necessarily be the best thing. If you want to get there fast, you may have to take the roads. Now, of course, this will lead to ambushes and choke points, which means you may want to then take the muddy countryside, but again, you'll be a bit slower while your other team might have taken the roads because you've gone by if you've not gone by the roads, you may not have set up an ambush, so the other team may still beat you. On the other hand, if you go into a muddy terrain and you get bogged down and stuck, you will be a very, very, very easy target for the enemy. This is going to add all sorts of tactical implications for the game. Looking forward to this, partly out of curiosity and partly out of it being a good addition. And it will be nice to see how this actually develops in game. Again, we haven't actually seen how it's going to work apart from that short video, so something to look out for, in my opinion. And probably one of the top things I'm looking forward to in this update. Of course, last but not least, we have the mouse. The last dev block entry is about the mouse. I've already done an episode on it. I'll leave a little annotation for you to follow. Probably the thing that everyone's looking forward to the most, including myself. Unfortunately, I'm nowhere near rank 5, so I probably won't be able to do a video of it on the dev server. I mean, I could do the armour previews and the interior of the tank previews, but unless I get to rank 5 in like the next week or so, that's just not going to happen. And even if I do get to rank 5, I think the dev server actually lags behind the main server a little bit, so it possibly still show me what I am now, like rank 2. So, yeah, we'll try and get more information on that when the dev server's up. But like I said, I've already done a video on it. So if you want more information, just follow the annotation. So that's it for this week's first ever patch 1.47 roundup. It's the first time I've done a roundup episode, really. Hopefully I'll be able to do one of these each week during the build-up for patch 1.47. As they release more stuff on the dev server, I'll just do a little roundup of what's been added, my opinion on it, how I think it will affect the game, that sort of stuff. Now, I should mention, stuff on the dev blog, it usually means that it's been cleared for release in the next patch, so patch 1.47. But that doesn't mean it's always 100% confirmed. As some of you may remember, there was a delay with 1.43 due to the damage model problems. 1.43 was pushed back to October from August, 0.45 was pushed back to December, and that meant some of the stuff that had been sort of slated for release, that had in fact been put on the dev blog, were actually pushed back as well. I believe one of them was a Fleet Air Arm British aircraft. That's actually not been released, despite being on the dev blog. In fact, I think the whole Fleet Air Arm release, which was meant to be 0.47, is actually going to be 0.49 now or something. Of course, there are other stuff we probably will get in 0.47 that aren't covered in dev blogs. There are very strong indications we're probably going to get the Focke-Wulf 200 and some other German bombers. I think the Ju-88 attack aircraft. and more American tanks, that sort of stuff. But again, until it's on the dev blog or dev server or it's been officially confirmed, I'm not going to cover it in too much detail. There is actually a patch 1.47 rumour roundup thread in the official War Thunder forums. I'll leave a link to that for those of you who are interested in the things we might be getting in 1.47 but haven't been confirmed. They're usually quite good with information. I think they've been right in the past. So I'll leave a link to that thread. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative about the new things we're going to be getting in game. Leave a like if you like the video, subscribe if you do like these sorts of videos, leave feedback, could always do with more feedback. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.